Every community has stories. This is where ours live. The We Are Grant County app brings together local voices, events, businesses, the podcast, and the magazine all in one place. And we're just getting started. We're looking for storytellers, guests, and sponsors to help shape what's next. Visit
wearegrantcounty.com.
Before we jump into today's episode, we want to tell you about something really special happening right here in our community. Dream Grant County is doing more than just talking about inclusion. They're creating real opportunities for individuals with special needs to grow, work, and connect. I recently sat down with some of the families and youth that are working with Dream, and their stories really do stick with you. So confidence, independence, purpose, it's all happening through places like the Kentucky Y'all Icebox. And now, Dream Grant County is inviting you in. On June 20th, Dream Grant County will be hosting Once Upon a Dream. It'll be a magical event filled with great food, powerful stories, a silent auction, and yes, plenty of sweet treats. This isn't just an event, it's something you'll definitely feel. Now, this is a podcast that I've been looking forward to for a while now. Been asking Jennifer to come on, and she finally signed up to do that with us. This is someone who, we grew up on the same road, and there's so many stories. I don't think we'll be able to cover all of them today.
I don't think we want to cover them.
Probably not.
Best left unsaid.
But Jennifer, would you mind go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. So I am Haubner-Vories from Grant County. Most people will know me as Jennifer Ammer or Jennifer Haubner, one of the three Jennifers. But yeah, grew up on Greenville Road. Michelle and I were part of the Greenville gang. If you don't know, then you don't need to know.
I was just like, where has that time gone? Like we were talking right before we hit record. Like, we don't even like, I mean, I moved here in 85. And so we've known each other since then.
Yeah.
Kind of, pockets here and there, kind of lose touch. But we've reconnected over, recently. And it's been wonderful kind of seeing the journey that you've been on.
Yeah,
it's
I feel the
pretty
same
amazing.
with you and your whole family, for sure. Yeah, I think we all have a special bond on that road. We all obviously grew up and kind of went our separate ways, but the joy of having Facebook and being able to reconnect with people, and you're still here in our hometown. So, this is my honey hole. I love it so much. I love coming back here. I get so much love when I come back to our hometown. Nothing feels as good as what it feels like being back in Grant County.
I mean, when I moved here, I didn't even know what, at that moment, it was a three-wheeler. It's like, what in the world is a three-wheeler? Then four-wheelers, quickly came in because the three-wheelers were on the way out when I moved here.
Yeah, they were a bit dangerous.
Yeah, just a tad.
We might have wrecked a few of them here and there.
But I mean, we grew up playing in the creeks, riding the four-wheelers. And like you had mentioned right before we hit record, playing the football in the yard, softball.
Yep.
And it wasn't any, flag football or touch football. We were right on tackling.
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. I was just telling you, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah. I had forgotten all about it until you mentioned it.
That's because I was the one taking the beating, Michelle.
That might be a little true.
It impacted you a little bit more.
Just made me who I am today.
Yep. You mean I had a hand in that? No.
Absolutely. All of you all did, for sure.
So let's see. I mean, you talk about kind of like early on and framing and shaping you and things like that. And you've always had this kind of drive in you. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I always credit everything to, my parents and God. There's always been a supernatural feeling in my heart when it comes to just my Christianity. Even though I did not go to church a ton when I was growing up, I mean, we went a lot, but it wasn't every single Sunday. His spirit just has always lived in me. And then growing up with my parents, I've told this story to a handful of people, and I love sharing it. My mom and dad, which you know very, very well, Michelle, my dad started the same career when he was, I want to say, 17 years old, and so did my mother. They both had me when they were 17. and they both went straight to work right out of high school. My dad was a ink tech at Equitable Bag, and then my mom worked at the IRS. And my mom never switched jobs. She was there until the day she retired just a couple years ago. And I have vivid memories, like ridiculous vivid memories of being a little girl and that alarm clock going off every stinking morning around 4 o'clock, 4:15, somewhere around there, every day. And she never hit snooze. She never like went the opposite direction. She was up and out the door, and I don't truly remember her ever missing a day of work. And she could have, but I truly don't think she did, because I know when she retired, she had over 2 years of sick days saved
Mm.
up at the IRS, which is crazy. Now, over to my dad was the same way. If he wasn't working, because he never called off either, and we obviously have good genes because neither one of my parents got sick. So
Yeah.
that was, a great thing, growing up on the farm and raising your own, dairy and all good things. But I just saw that that wasn't an option. Like my option was get it done. And I do truly believe the world that I grew up in, I wish all of my children would have been able to grow up in that world, because I think that, they would be able to emulate the kind of human that I am because of what my parents instilled in me, probably not even knowing, because I'm sure they got that work ethic from their parents. It was just like
Mhm.
passed down. But I just think about that. And Michelle, I never missed a day of school, in 13 years either. And that wasn't because I did not want to. Oh, because I wanted to. I did not want to be in school every single day, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I knew that if I did not go to school, there was a lot of work to be done at the farm, but it wasn't an option not to go to school. My parents worked hard. They never missed work. Therefore, it wasn't an option for me to miss school. And now, as I'm a 50-year-old adult, I can promise you I never call off at work. I don't think I've ever missed a day of real estate since I started 18 years ago, unless I'm on a vacation. But it definitely 100%, the drive just comes from, my parents just constantly putting those values inside of me. So it's a blessing, and I love talking about it because I could not give my mom and dad more credit.
And I'm just like, I'm shaking my head and I'm listening and I'm like, because it just takes me right back, because it just becomes very vivid for me, because I'm like, yeah, there's the house, waking up, driving.
Yep.
And, it brought back memories of my dad, just
Loved him.
because when you mentioned where your dad worked, other than living on that road, my dad had one of his accounts was at Equitable Bag.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
totally forgot that until you just mentioned that. Yeah. That was so wild.
so it's funny how it all just kind of connects.
Yep.
But you had mentioned like high school and stuff like that. So you had mentioned 13 years. I have to, toot my mom's horn, because, the five of us children, never missed a day of school either.
Yep.
Yes, I would have loved to,
Right.
but that just didn't happen.
That was before some of the viruses.
Yeah,
Right.
Before
Might have been a
COVID.
little bit different now.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little different.
just a tad bit.
That may not be encouraged as much.
Yeah,
But yes, it was a very important thing. Yeah.
it was substantial in our home.
Yep.
But you had mentioned school. So what was school like for you?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, that's a great question. Well, I'm blessed, being where I'm at now, I still get to connect with a lot of my old teachers, and I don't know if everyone had the same kind of relationship that I had with my teachers. Now, I got in trouble a lot. We were just talking about this the other day, that every single report card, and I'm talking every single one, had Jennifer talks too much. And I did. I talked a lot. I mean, I'm ADD, not diagnosed, but I know that I am, and I can't shut up. And thank God I get paid to talk now and to negotiate, because that works out pretty well. But I had great teachers, even the ones that, had to take me out in the hall and swat me, because that was a thing back then. I still had uber respect for them. And there was only a couple that I can tell you that we really didn't get along. But I know as an adult now, they were doing what they needed to do. I can remember my kindergarten teacher all the way up to all the teachers that I had throughout school. And I just thought that they were wonderful, and it makes me sad today to know that the teachers don't get the kind of respect that we gave them when we were growing up. But Grant County was a special place for me, so even though I was kind of forced to go to school every day, it wasn't horrendous. I loved being able to see my friends, walk through the hallway and, hang out with my friends. But school then was way different than what school is now. I looked forward to it. I truly did. And I wish my kids loved it as much as I did, but we're in a different world now. So I'm just can be grateful for having the experience that I had at, Dry Ridge Elementary, Grant County Middle School and the high school. And coming back here, I love doing it and I love to be able to sponsor anything. So Michelle, I'm a big sponsor kind of person.
Yeah.
I love coming back here and giving back to this community.
All right. So, Jennifer, you didn't start in real estate. You mentioned that you've been doing it for over 18 years now.
Yeah.
So what were you doing before real estate?
Well, obviously, when we were growing up, I was working on the farm, so learned a lot of work ethic there. And then my first big job was right outside of college. I started at Argosy Casino, and that was a whole nother world for this Grant County girl. I mean, we grew up, Michelle, in a county that didn't even have alcohol. Now,
Yeah.
granted, we snuck some in here and there, but that just was not here. So when I started in the casino business, I just remember like, what in the world is happening here? Everybody's drinking during the daytime. I was making pretty good money. So I was cocktailing. And even though I had a degree, the degree was not going to pay me enough to sustain the life that I knew that I needed. Or that I wished for. So that casino had just opened. I was there for 2 years. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Made my second batch of best friends outside of the Greenville gang and my Grant County peeps, and they are wonderful. They're still some of my best friends to this day. But that was a turning point in my life for several reasons. One, the second year that I was at the casino, I was headhunted by Caesars Casino out of Vegas, and they had brought in some head honchos to Argosy to recruit. And one of the recruiters came up to me on the floor and said, "We've watched you for the last week work, and we would like to know if you would be interested in a position right outside of Louisville at Caesars Casino." Next casino was going to be the biggest casino boat that the whole United States had seen, and I was working on the biggest one at the time. So I kind of knew what I was getting into. And I was like, you know what? That sounds really interesting. And unfortunately, I was at a turning point in my life where I was getting ready to go through a divorce. And I just thought that it would be best just to kind of go away for a little bit and not be in the minutia of, breaking hearts, because I did that. And I'm still not a fan of that moment. With that being said, I took that job and I was there for 12 years and made my third set of best friends. And that was another great career. And by grace of God, I think Jesus knew that I was done with that career. And they pretty much, it wore me out. So one of my clients that was at Argosy when I ended up coming back after 12 years, they had looked at me and said, same thing, kind of like what the Caesars people did. "Hey, I've watched you over the years. You were a hustler. You're a grinder. Are you looking for anything different?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm getting ready to finish up my second degree in business. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to move up the ladder here in the casino business," which is not a good thing to do because cocktail waitresses and dealers made way more than, the people that were managing us. So I knew that wasn't going to be a good move unless I went all the way up. So I knew I had to get another degree, which I was getting. And he said, "I want to hire you to be my data entry person, kind of like my secretary. And I want to hire you now. I don't even have to interview you." And I'm like, sold. I'm doing this, right? So I drive over to Remax over in Ohio, and I meet Rick Vaughn, which was, one of my clients at the time. Him and his wife came in, and they would play the slots like one time a month, and they were just the sweetest people. And I handed him my license, and he looked at it, and I could tell on his face something was wrong. And he handed it back over to me, and because he was getting ready to fill out my W-2 information, and he said, "Jennifer, I cannot hire you. I'm going to do you one better. I did not know that you were not from Cincinnati. I thought that you were. Your sphere, which I didn't know really what that meant at the time, is all over in Kentucky. I think you need to go get your real estate license and go work for Remax there in Northern Kentucky." And that's what I did.
Hmm.
And it was a blessing because I wanted to get out of the casino business. I did not know how to do it because I didn't know anything about business at the time. I just
Mhm.
knew how to cocktail. I've been cocktailing at that point for close to 15 years.
Well, you
Um,
knew how to talk too. Don't
yeah,
forget that. That was
and that was
that was
definitely part
just
of it,
yeah.
Katie, for sure. So he changed my life, and I'm still in good conversation with him to this day. I brought him into Keller Williams and kind of showed him this empire that I've grown, and he is mind blown because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the most amount of houses that he sold in a year was like 40. And the most I've sold just myself is around 80 plus. And that's not including my referrals that I hand out, the B2B business that I do state
Mhm.
to state. So probably on average about 120 deals is what I do a year. And he was like, he didn't understand. So I'm like, well, that's the power of owning a business and not just being a real estate agent.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that was all part of it. And that's actually why I was able to grow my business so quick, because everybody in the casino business saw me hustle, and I pretty much out hustled anyone there because I was a single mom and I needed to make some money.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So, what was hard maybe in the beginning that people might not realize?
In the real estate world,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Well, so many people come and go in this business, and I'm sure you have seen it as well. Because real estate has such a low entry fee to get started, you can actually own your own business and become a realtor for just a few $1,000s. The average real estate agent will fail within the first 2 years. So it's like a 98% failure rate in
Mhm.
our industry because it's so easy to get in. It's so easy to get out. Now, Keller Williams, if you just look at our stats, is a lot lower. But in general, by the National Association of Realtors, you're looking at about 98%. That was hard for me because when I started at Remax in Northern Kentucky, I made some good friends, and within years they were gone, and I see it even more now because I'm a top recruiter at our office. People just don't stick with it. And the craziest thing is, I know what this business can do for your family. You have to be built for it because this is not the easiest career that I have chosen. With that being said, it is definitely a plentiful career. I've been able to retire my husband. That's been a blessing. But just going back to the hardest part, it's seeing people leave, because I see potential in people. I see potential in everyone, but I see the potential in them. And when it gets hard, they just give up. And I think that's just the world that we live in, where if it just gets hard, that's okay. It's going to get easier. You got to learn to trade. You got to get in and get dirty. But that to me is the hardest part. And then the second hardest part for me was just the learning curve. I don't know if anyone knows this other than some of the people that I started Remax with. I did not know how to type when I got my real estate license. My mother, because she was at the IRS for many years, she could type like 100+ words a minute. Even when I was doing all of my things in school and even in college, I would write it out and I'd hand it to her. It would have taken me 4 days to type that crap. For her, it would take her like an hour, right?
Yeah.
So she would just type it all up. So I had to learn not just how to sell real estate, I had to learn how to type. I had to learn how to use email. I never had done emails before. And we didn't have Gmail, then we had Outlook, which I still
Mhm.
don't even understand how to use that program. But it was a huge learning curve, and it was exhausting because I was a pecker. Like, I
Mhm.
would peck and peck letters. And my husband will make fun of me to this day. I use the delete button more than I use the alphabet when I am typing things. But I've gotten better over the years, which is good. But yeah, the learning curve is super, super tough because coming as a cocktail waitress, I would go in for, my 8 hours or, even if I work doubles. But the minute that I hit the button and I left and I clocked out, I didn't think about work. Real estate's way different, Michelle, because I can never not think about work. Like, it's
Mhm.
like when I get out of here, I'll probably have 25 text messages. I've got to negotiate 3 more deals. And I hold that stuff very dear to my heart because this is my client's biggest asset. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't get an off switch. And that now looking at all things, that's the hardest part of all of it.
And I can relate to that because, working for the state, um, and we won't get too far into what I used to do, but with working with juvenile delinquents and working with the families, working directly with the courts, things like that, the phone doesn't turn off. You're always on call. So
And your
I
heart doesn't
completely
turn off.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
I completely understand, because it's maybe your client's biggest asset, but it's also the life that I'm working with, like the kids, and things like that. So
Yep.
it's, I completely 100% understand
Yep.
that,
And sometimes
it's
it
trying to
is
strike
that,
that balance.
in my world. because like we just closed a deal today and we were pending and my client passed away.
Oh,
And
goodness.
and she passed away before we got to the closing table. So there is a lot of emotions in real estate. And I would probably say that's one of the reasons why people can't juggle this career because they
Mhm.
think that it's just close the deal, go show the house. It's no, no, no. It's a lot of psychology, a ton of it.
I mean, on the surface, that's all you see is, show the house, close the deal, move on to the next one.
Yep.
Um,
So different. So different.
I would say at least for um, a small business owner type thing, Michelle also does not switch it off. Like she's always thinking about improving the business and that she really does like and then works all hours and
Yeah.
things like that.
And I've seen that with you guys growing the business for sure. I mean, even your photography business, it's taken off so well over the last years, but no one loves your business as much as you,
right.
and no one truly loves your clients as much as you, and
Mhm.
it's okay. You just have to learn how to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, staying in your lane. So how have you been able to basically, stay sharp, stay dialed in for over, what is it, just under 20 years?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So I have this philosophy, and again, goes back to my parents: never quit. Before I really got in the weeds with this career, I thought I could do it well. I did not know how well I could do it.
Mhm.
And I haven't added it up in the last like year and a half, but I know it's over $300,000 that I've spent on my own education. And when I talk about that, it's every class that I can go to, and I'm flying to Texas to take classes. I've had the best of the best coaches from, here at Keller Williams to the core training. You name it, I've been in it. I've been all the way to Texas to Michigan. I'm getting ready to go to New York City in the fall, and I'm at the top of my game, but I'm still learning, and I crave learning because I love to teach that to other agents. The sharpness comes from the other people around me. I'm not creating this. I'm just learning from them, and then I'm implementing in the situations that I know that it needs to be implemented in. And we have a philosophy at KW that if you're not learning, you're not growing. And for us, even though I'm, pushing 19 years in the business, I learn all the time. Like
Mhm.
Sandy was just training our agents today. I'll be training them on Thursday. I want to keep them sharp and I need to keep myself sharp because I don't have to sell 80 properties a year. I love selling 80 homes a year or land or commercial or whatever I'm
Yeah.
doing at that moment. I love empowering people and I can only empower them as good as I can with the knowledge that I have. So I have over and over and over again overqualified myself. And I love it because there's not that many agents out there that have the skill set that I have. I mean, number 3 out of 1,400 agents, it's not too bad in 18 years considering the other ones that are on top of me, like ranked higher than me, have been selling longer than I have. So it is a blessing for sure.
And congratulations on that, but you are working your tail off
Thank
to
you.
to get that.
I cry every once in a while as I'm like, is this really happening? Is this happening? And I'm so proud of like my team and, my husband, cause he's part of the team. Like we just get after it and we don't do it for the money. We're the last agent that you are going to talk to that really will have that money talk with you. We're more about you because I know, and I know this is going to sound corny as heck, but God has always provided. Always. And he always will. And I've really never got too stressed about things. I mean, right now it's a little bit difficult. On my side business, I've got 4 tenants not paying rent right now. So, if tenants aren't
Mhm.
paying rent, guess who's making the rent payment?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be me and my husband. So that's a little dicey. But as far as, just the skill set, if you're going to be in this business and you're not getting training and all you're doing is buying and selling houses, you're going to stay stagnant. You're really not going to be able to grow too much. So I just put myself in the rooms that I need to be in.
Well, I would say that's also an area that probably changes over time as well, right? Different
You're
legislation,
right.
different regulations, new,
Yep.
standards that you have to meet.
Every year,
I mean,
sometimes every month.
yeah.
We were just in that big NAR lawsuit back 2 years ago in August, and everything changed. Nothing changed in my business because I was already handling my business appropriately, but people that were not doing it correctly, they got I don't even know the word because I wasn't part of that, but they had a lot of things that they had to incorporate, which we were already doing on our
Mm.
team. So it was nothing different.
So we have our third annual Dream Grant County fundraiser, and we are going to call it Once Upon a Dream. And that is going to be at the Jean Lebeth at 129 South Main Street in Dry Ridge on Saturday, June 20th at 5 p.m. So this is going to be an evening where we're going to have great food. Brothers Barbecue is going to be there catering, and they catered for us last year, and the food was absolutely delicious. So if you come for nothing else, just having good food is wonderful. We're also going to have a silent auction, and that will be a big part of our fundraiser. We're hoping to have some really unique finds, some vintage things, all kinds of cool and different things that would be fun to bid on. We are going to have an ice cream social, and so we're going to provide ice cream from the Kentucky Y'all Icebox and all the little goodies to go with our ice cream, and that will give it a unique flair, and that will kind of tie everything together. But our main attraction for the evening will be two amazing story artists. We're going to have Bill Lepp and Paul Strickland. They are both nationally known for their ability to tell stories and to keep an audience entertained. Paul Strickland is from Covington, and we're so blessed to have him so close. Both of these men are absolutely behind our cause. They want us to succeed, and they're willing to come and spend their time with us and help us to have a really good evening. People should start thinking about it, because you're not going to find this quality of entertainment in Grant County very often.
So over time now, you've built something up and you're very successful with it. But honestly, what I respect a lot, from what I've seen you doing, is the giving back that you do. So where does that come from? Like, because not everybody that is successful like you are decides to give back.
That's a great question. I've been asked that before, and I actually had to stop and think about that. I don't know if it was just something that I was born with, but my dad and I were talking last year, and he had brought up his mother, which was my very best friend. She passed away when I was 10 years old, and she was just an incredible human. She took care of all of her children. She was a stay-at-home mom. I went to church with her in Walton at a Methodist church, and I seriously remember her just giving money to people that were just walking by, not like even tithing. I'm talking just like, okay, here's some money. And I was like, whatever. And I forgot all about that, because as you grow older, you forget like things. And my dad had brought it up, and he was just reminding, well, not necessarily reminding me. We were just talking about how giving his mother was, and how his dad would have to dial her in, because, they had several children at home, and, one income. And my grandmother was so generous that sometimes it probably got her in trouble. And I would say a lot of it comes from that. And a lot of it comes from, being raised in our church here in Grant County. And I just always knew that no matter how well or how bad I did, that everything here on earth is not mine. And anytime that I can empower someone to be a better person, or the tithe be better than what I could give the week before, that's what I was going to do. And this story resonates with me, and it goes back to when I was at my other brokerage. I remember I call him my nephew, but he wasn't, but Tyler Cummins had passed away, and Dad and I and my family pulled together, and we were going to do our very first golf outing for his little girl. And he had passed while his girlfriend was pregnant with her child, and we wanted to do something big for that family. So I started getting sponsors, and this was the very first time that I had fundraised ever. And I didn't even know it was called fundraising. I just thought it was something nice to do. And I'll never forget that I walked up to the people that I worked with at that, and my very first brokerage, and they said, and all I was asking for was $100 donation for a sign sponsor. And I was told that if they sponsored this event, they would have to sponsor every event. So I just assumed that that's just the way that it was in real estate. I just assumed that there was no sponsorship. It is what it is. Cut blank, put it in my pocket, zip it, lock it, never said anything about it again. Had a great event, ended up raising a lot of money for this family. And then, a couple of years later, I ended up switching brokerages, and one of our brokers ended up in that Indiana stage collapse. And she wasn't in it, but her daughter was, and her daughter worked at Huff Realty. she had a little girl, and this was in Indianapolis, and they ended up having to stay there in Indianapolis for several months because a lot of people died and they were in ICU. And I saw the Keller Williams community come together so stinking big. I'd never seen anything like it before. I decided to spearhead this event. Gary Keller, the owner of our company, cut a check, and so, I want to say close to like 60 some $1,000 for a girl that didn't even work at our brokerage, that worked at the opposing brokerage, to help her out. He helped Colleen out, which was my broker at the time, because she had to take off and take care of her family. We raised money, of course. And I just remember thinking to myself, that's not the way that real estate is. Your heart's as big as you want your heart to be. And I'm not saying that they did not have a big heart. I understood where they were coming from, right? And I also ran into other big business owners throughout the years where I would go and ask them for donors, and they would say, oh, if we did it for you, we'd do it for everyone. Ladies, I cannot do it for everyone.
Yeah.
I can only do it when I can do it. But God's always provided for me, and my sponsorship is truly from the heart. Like the softball girls, I haven't even went to a Cooper game yet, and I'm sponsoring those girls. I did the lacrosse at Boone County last year, at Ryle. Obviously, anything here in Grant County, I'm always a fan of. My nephews that love to motorbike, and that's what I grew up doing. So it comes easy, and it's not just because I'm a yes person and I'm a pleaser. I truly love empowering people, and God has put me in such a unique position that I feel that it's my duty. And there are times that I have to say no, but it's not often.
Mm-hmm. So like you had mentioned the photography and things like that, but one thing with the photography that I've been able to witness is your client appreciation parties. You've invited us out a handful of times to provide the photo booth, and we have an excellent and fun time doing it. There's always something cool and interesting going on. Where did that idea come from? Like, just to give back that way too.
Yeah, so I'm sure you came to some of these parties, Michelle. Going back to Greenville Road, Mom and Dad always had parties, and I think they kind of fizzled out probably when the girls were maybe a little bit, younger, maybe around that time when they were born. I'm not sure, but for many years, Mom and Dad had parties at the farm, and I know it's because they work so hard. And I have my dad's genealogy. We just like to have a good time. I don't like to. There's many things that I like to do, but there's some things that I cannot do. So going just to the party piece of it, I knew as I grew this business and as busy as I could not be in front of these people that actually became my friends during the real estate transaction. Because if you're with the seller, you don't see a seller that often. You're in their house, you get it listed, you meet them at the closing table. Buyers are a little bit different. You spend a little bit more time with them. But I am a relationship person. So when that transaction was over, I was like, what else can I do to stay in front of these people? Because I really love spending time with them, because I'm a people person, and I just love the conversations. So it started off very, very small. We would do happy hours, and then the happy hours grew. And then I started doing them at Brianza, the winery. And I love supporting local, which love helping businesses grow. It's like almost my superpower. So Tony was starting his business at Brianza. Within 4 years, I was packing the house. There was not enough, we just couldn't get any more cars in. So then I had to move over to Brighton Barn, where we can fit as many cars in as we want. So I think the most we've had there is about 500 plus people. That is one of my moments that I truly am engaged with my clients. Back, hugs, kisses.
Mm-hmm.
I get to see them. I've seen I actually just helped a young girl here in Grant County buy her first investment property. I met her when she was 18. I sold her mom's house, and now she's in her 20s, and she just had her second baby, and now I helped her buy her first house. So it's the progression of watching these people become successful through what I have coached them through, or maybe just selling a house or buying a house. But I'm more of a I'm not your typical agent. I'm more in it for the educational piece than just the one and done. And I love having people around. So going back to my mom and dad throwing those parties when I was younger, I'd already seen it happen. And I'm like, ooh, this is a lot of fun. And people look forward to it. And truly, how many people get to go to a party like that? I mean, Michelle, you've done a lot of photo booth, events, and Katie, you've been there.
We've had quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, and they're just fun, and it is a safe place. And I love to create the atmosphere where someone can go and not worry about, you know, the world that we live in right now, because it's not the easiest world, right? And I provide that environment one day a year. We have whatever going on, and I like to add like another layer every single year just to make it that much more crazy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I love being able to connect with my clients. My team loves to be able to connect with their people, and my team loves to be able to offer that to them. I mean, there's families that come that barely can buy groceries nowadays, and they're getting free ice cream and free food, and the kids can keep going up and getting ice cream like it's a free for all. It's freaking awesome.
I was
So
like trying to think back to some of my favorite stuff, and I was like, the ice cream was
yeah.
pretty awesome.
Dreamy
and-
Whip is like, they're like you all. You're my staple. You come to all my events. Dreamy Whip comes to all my events. It's perfect.
Our caramel apples.
Oh, yeah. Alicia,
Yeah.
I brought her into the business about 6 years ago, and she's not allowed to not be at my business because people will call me. I'm not coming unless Alicia's there giving those apples out. I'm like, done deal.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And I think, like you said, it's something like, what can we do? What
Yep.
can we make even better? And,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm always thinking too. So if you ladies come up with anything, I have to now do it every other year because the expense has just, the expense of the world is just bonkers, right? So it's unfortunate. We have to change some stuff up with marketing. So this year we're doing our golf outing, which is coming up this Friday for charity. And then next year we'll do the big client party. So we'll do every other year just because the budget it's just crazy expensive to be able to, give 500 to 700 people the day of their life. So, but at least I'm able to do it every once in a while now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then we just have to make it that much better.
Exactly. Don't think I won't.
I know. I mean, you're very capable. I'm always surprised. I'm like, wow, what do we got this year?
Yeah. So if you ladies think of anything, just let me know.
Well, as long as we're there, we're good.
Oh, for sure.
I have a good time just with the kids. I think was it Christmas party?
Yeah.
We had Santa, and the kids had so much fun. And I mean, when people are having a good time, they like getting pictures.
Yeah,
Our
for
photo
sure.
booth is one of those things. Like, it's awesome to see everybody getting into it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a cool event there. That one has grown as well. I truly was asked to leave the Triple Crown Country Club because it was just too big. There's just too many people, not enough parking spaces, not enough, room for them to move. And it was perfect. I was able to call, Amanda up and say, hey, what's the venue look like during, the Christmas months? And she's like, it's all yours. You can have it whenever you want it. And that's perfect because that's another staple of my business, right? That's where we have our client party. Now we have our free pictures with Santa. And the best thing about it is it doesn't only have to be my clients. I can invite Grant County now because this is, that's where Brighton Barn is at. So it's for me, it's perfect. So it's almost like a homecoming. I get to give back to my community. I get to give back to my clients, and I get to empower, businesses like your alls to join with me. Cause I think we normally have about 10 vendors there a year, and they all do superb. And I'm a very loyal person. I invite the same people back year after year after year. I've already rented out the Brighton Barn for the next 10 years, if that tells you anything. Like, that's just how I do.
Yeah. So if the kids that we were years ago, if yourself was to look at you today, we're not running around the creek anymore or
Oh, man,
anything
I
like
miss those
that.
days.
I know, right? What do you think that Jennifer would say to this Jennifer?
Oh my gosh. Well, I can tell you, I did not have a vision when I was younger. I did not know how to look into the future and kind of empower myself to be what I wanted to be. I was a young kid. I was confused and just didn't know. I mean, I knew that I wanted to do something successful. I didn't know what line of business it was going to be in, but I would have to say I'd pat myself on the back and say, way to go, girl. Like, I'm going to tear up, but it's
not too bad.
It's been pretty incredible. I mean, to consider where I started, not necessarily just, here in Grant County, but just in my real estate career. The day I got my real estate license, I didn't sell a property until I was 7 months in. And it was really tough because I was working. This is crazy, ladies. I doubt you know this. I was working from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning at the casino when I came back to this one, to Argosy. And then I would come home, get Quentin on the bus. I was living with my sister, so I was pretty much homeless. Dave Riley was great to me. He let me stay there until I got up on my feet. And then from getting Quentin on the bus and then going to Lexington to finish out my degree, I would then come back home after 2 classes, sleep for a little bit, get him off the bus, and pretty much turn around and do it all over again. So once I got my real estate license, 7 months to write my first offer, meaning that I was not making any money and I was just living off my wages as a cocktail waitress. It was tough. That's why it blows my mind when people quit this career. I'm like, what in the world? Like, do you not see what I've done with this? You can do this. Like, you can, if this little girl from Grant County can do what I have done, you can do it. So I definitely, Michelle, I'd probably cry and I would be like, girl, I think that you've done it, but I can also promise you I'm not done yet. Like,
Exactly. That was going to be my next thing.
yeah,
I was like, what is next for you, Jennifer? Because
I'm
I
not
know you're not
sure, but
done.
the greatest thing now, and it's really wild because I remember looking at my parents when they were like 25 and 30 years old thinking, good Lord, they're old. And now I'm 50, right? So I know I'm really old. But now that I have all of this knowledge, I want to share it. We were just
Mhm.
talking about how Aaron and I want to start a podcast because I get calls all the time. Like today, I was just helping another agent at my office, like comp some properties, which I love to do. But I want to be that real estate resource for Northern Kentucky, Grant County, my area in Triple Crown where I live at. I want to be that person where you can call me or you can hop on my episodes or whatever, and the information that you're getting is not just going to help you. You don't have to worry that I'm pointing you in the right direction because I'm not led by money.
Mhm.
Like the commission has nothing really to do with my career. It's all about empowering people, like I said. So yeah, that little girl would be super, super proud, not just of me, but of you and all. I mean, truly think about the Greenville
Yeah.
gang, Michelle. I
Yep.
mean, we have had some major success on that road.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Yep. I always say to myself, I have the best friends in all these different pockets because we're all hustlers and we all truly have the biggest hearts. There is not one person that I can tell you that is in my circle that doesn't, um, because they've all earned that right, and I'm not just saying to be my friend. I'm just saying they've earned the right for me to respect them because we all have worked super, super hard to get to where we're at. And it's a pleasure watching you ladies do what you do. I mean, it's it's pretty freaking wild to see what everybody's done that we've grown up with. Grant County has really turned out some pretty magnificent people.
Being in the media and or I guess like the media like magazines, podcasts and things like that, that was not on my bingo card as a child.
Well, real estate wasn't mine.
And it's
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I truly enjoy.
Yeah, it's wild. I tell this story that Jeff and I, Quentin's dad, my son that's getting ready to turn 30, which is insane. But yeah, he'll be 30 this year. And the house that we built it when we were 20 years old, cost us $53,000 to build it, which is right, 53,000. What? You can't buy anything for 53,000 anymore. But that was my first introductory to real estate. And I wish I would have known that there was a career in real estate. So I do my best to show up at all the career days, like where the high schools are at, because I want them to know that it's such a great career to have. Or what what Quentin does, like Quentin's in trades. He's his own boss. I mean, he's an entrepreneur. I think we forget that the world needs more of those people leading the way. And not to say that college isn't great, but college isn't for everyone. I've got 2
Right.
degrees that I did not use. And they really didn't do me much good. Unfortunately, they put me in debt. So that was one of the reasons why I had to do well at real estate because I had to pay off that debt.
Yeah. um as far as education goes, like I mean, I went to school like right after high school and it wasn't for me. I mean, it's where I thought I needed to be or wanted to be. But I mean, after 2.5 years, the university and I agreed that we needed to have a
We should,
breakup.
we should
Breakup.
separate mutually beneficial for both.
But I mean, and then 5 years later, I'm like, I got the drive, I got the bug. It's like, no, I'm gonna go finish this. I'm gonna do what I set out to do, and then ended up with a master's degree. So it's kind of like, it's not always something that needs to happen right away.
Yeah.
It might not ever happen for anybody or might not ever be needed, but then it is something that is always going to be there if somebody wanted to go get it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, like, I love that. And congratulations to you because that is such a huge accomplishment. For me, school was not something I was learning about things that I did not want to learn about.
Mhm.
Once I found what I wanted to learn about, I was all in. I wasn't missing anything. So when this career came about and I ended up joining Keller Williams is the #1 training company in the world. So I was like, oh, I'm in. So any class that they had, I'm there. And I'm not just talking real estate company trading. I'm talking the number one training company in the world out of all companies in the world. So it's pretty phenomenal because I'm with a company that truly believes in education. And once I grew up a little bit, right, and I had to grow up, I realized that education is where it was at. So you have your master's degree. I don't necessarily have a master's
Yeah.
degree in real estate, but I feel that like I do.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, learning and training, it all comes in different forms.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I went through and got my master's in sociology, and I just felt like a perpetual college student because that was one of my favorite things, just reading
Yeah.
like sociology and psychology, just fascinating. And I just wish at some point I got that same kind of, I don't know. I just couldn't get off the student track. And like, I guess it's funny because I'm like, I probably could have been a student for like another decade, you know?
But you love to
Just-
learn, and that's that. I mean, that's a great quality to have, you know,
Yeah.
because even when I go on vacations, Katie, I'm still taking books with me. Like that is even though that's my relaxation and that's my time to like just give myself a break, my brain craves knowledge, which is so wild because it did not when I was younger. Like it's a complete, like I'm a totally different person than what I was when I was younger. When I talk education, you know, so it's nice to see that I was able to do something with it because all those SWATs that I got for talking, you know, back in the day, I never knew
paying
that it was
off,
going to
right?
actually turn into something gracious.
Yes, there you go. It definitely, some of those, we're not all built for certain things, right? We're not all rocket scientists,
That's
but
right.
there's people that, you know, make the world go round, and talking is one of those things that we need.
Yeah. Well, I
do
never
it.
knew it then, but thank goodness that, you know, the beatings that I got in school didn't beat the talking out of me.
Well, Jennifer, thank you very much for being part of this podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Um,
ladies, for having me.
You're welcome. Can you want to tell us just like how anybody can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a very interesting thing when it comes to real estate. I just don't obviously do buyers and sellers. I do commercial, a lot of land. I love helping people build their portfolio and try to make their lives better, just not by owning one house. So I do a session at the end of every single month, and it's an open quorum. It's on Zoom. So if you ever want to get on that, it's normally the last Wednesday or Thursday. I change it up just depending. And we normally do it at noon. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can either call me because my cell phone's always on. Besides right now, I had to turn it off. It's 859-991-9035. And then we are huge on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those. Matter of fact, I got a lead today from Monterey, California off our TikTok. Like it is nuts how this world works now. So you can normally find me on any social media handle. Phone is the best way to get a hold of me because, as I told you, I love to talk. But I love to educate people too. So I'm always here to help. And if there's anything that I can do, any roadblock that you have in real estate, I'm there for you. I'm your girl.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, this is exactly what We Are Grant County is all about. Real people, real stories, real impact.
Love it. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Love it.
Bye.
So good.
All right.
You almost had me crying.
Oh, I saw it.
As we wrap up today's episode, don't forget about Dream Grant County. Once Upon a Dream is happening June 20th, and it's more than just a night out. It's a chance to be part of something that's building confidence, opportunity, real change. Come for the food, stay for the stories, and leave knowing you helped to make a difference. Because this community, we show up. Thank you for listening to the We Are Grant County podcast. Be sure to check out other episodes and make sure you subscribe so you're always notified when a new episode is available. Stay up to date with all things Grant County by using the We Are Grant County app. And you can find that at wearegrantcounty.com.
ToadTalkMedia.com.